Oh man, gosh, work sure was hard today. You know, just sending out so many packages for, the good old Amazon company, and my boss decided to reward my good work with this little training video he sent me, so yeah, let's watch it together.
Welcome. We're
Hi.
excited to have you at this training.
Oh, me
Specifically
too.
designed to give you the
Oh, notice the bug that's on the video here, because we can guarantee ourselves that the real person watching this video is in some, like, $6,000 a month apartment that's about, like, 150 square feet, that has, like, constant rat infestations going on. Basically the average Amazon employee.
tools that you need for success
Okay,
when
tools.
it comes to labor organizing.
Oh.
During this course, we'll cover several important topics, such as our position on unions, associate
That's
rights,
reasonable.
signs of employee disengagement, and how to identify, escalate, and address associate concerns. We are not anti-union,
Oh, that's good. I'm glad they're not anti-union.
but we are not neutral
Oh.
either.
Ooh, but there's a but. They're not anti-union, but. And you know what happens at the but? That's where the shit comes out.
We will boldly defend our direct relationship with
Boldly defend. Boldly defend at your expense, at the employee's expense. They will boldly defend their direct consumer relationship.
associates as best for the associate, the business,
Oh,
and our
associates.
shareholders.
Yeah, sure.
We do not believe unions are in the best interest of our customers, our shareholders, or most importantly, our associates. Our business
Okay, now notice how associates are at the bottom. That is the most significant thing, as you are the bottom of the fucking rung. You're 40% of the operating costs, but hey, go fuck yourself. Now, in reality, customers are not up here. I know every company says customers come first. That's fucking bullshit. It's shareholders are at first, and then it's like the fucking board, and then it's like the CEO, and then it's like, I don't know, CFO, I don't know, anybody else basically that is like, making over $1 billion a year. And then you got customers down there that are like, yeah, I guess we should care about those guys too. But yeah, this just needs to get reordered a little bit here. It's pretty close, but it's not entirely there.
associates. Our business model is built upon speed, innovation, and customer obsession.
Okay, why did they draw the person here like hangman, but like as if they were fully being hung? So like it's oh god.
Things that are generally
They
not
didn't even try with speed. Like innovation has all this extra fonts. Customer obsession has a fucking, suicide warning. And then speed, they didn't even put any zippy lines on it. Like, did they even try?
associated with unions. When we lose sight of those
Okay. So speed, innovation, and customer obsession are not associated with unions. What do you mean speed isn't associated? Like, well, speed is your way of saying I want to get more labor out of my workers for less cost. So yeah, unions are like in competition against that because unions want to defend the workers' right to have, reasonable pay and reasonable working conditions that are, not fucking stressing them out to the point where they have to go in for fucking like, medical shit and then lose time at work or need workman's comp, Innovation. I mean, yeah, a union doesn't do anything involved in innovating because they're fucking workers. Like, they only innovate in how to, like, respond to market conditions so that they can, like, best advocate for the workers. They're not a fucking corporation. Now, mind you, I only say that very literally because corporations also don't innovate. If you don't know this, like, almost all funding for all innovation that has ever happened throughout human fucking history has been publicly funded by governments. Corporations are very reticent to ever actually like put their money into, quote, innovation. Look at the fucking smartphone. The smartphone is built on the back of technology that was all publicly funded, but now that technology is sold by corporations, and the taxpayers, the American taxpayers that funded all that fucking innovation, don't see a fucking dime of it. That's just how that's how capitalism is. Capitalism is in America, is that all the taxpayers fund this great innovation, and then when the new technologies come out, we don't see a fucking dime of it. And if anything, we get conned into buying this dog shit. Customer obsession, that's just a fucking joke. Who gives a fuck about the customer? Nobody fucking cares about the customer.
critical focus areas, we jeopardize everyone's job security. We don't badmouth unions in general, but we will speak openly with associates about...
Well, wait, so they're saying they're not neutral and they're not anti-union. So, like, they just hate unions? I mean, I know they do, but, like, I mean, this is some, like, this is some triple think here.
unions, including any specific concerns about particular unions involved in organizing. And we share our preference for a direct working relationship frequently and boldly, even when no organizing activity has occurred. You will learn about the warning signs.
What the fuck? That was like... Did they even say words there?
Commonly associated with early union organizing,
Ooh.
as well as other warning signs that could indicate associate disengagement, vulnerability to organizing, or early organizing activity.
Okay, the way he's talking about these things are like warning signs of like recidivism or like fucking relapsing in drug treatment. It's fucking organizing. Like, at the end of this, I'll explain to you how capitalism is bullshit, but let's just get through it.
While employees have the right to organize, we have a right and responsibility to share our position that a direct working relationship is better for the customer, the company, and the associate.
I mean, that's just objectively not fucking true. Like, a direct working relationship, aka the company has all the power in who they hire and who they fire and what wages are set at, and the associate is one against the company. Every individual associate is one against the company. Like, rather than having the company and the associates be one together, i.e. socialism, you have the individual workers all separated, but you have, you know, the company, basically the what's the word for it, the desk jockeys, the people who sit behind the desk, that crunch the numbers, they do the fucking business shit, all those people. It's basically them against all, like, the actual laborer. Basically it comes down to labor and non-labor. Now, non-labor can't exist without labor, but how you divide up the spoils is where we get into the problems with this.
In order to be able to do that effectively, it is critical that we recognize the early warning signs of potential organizing and escalate concerns promptly. If you see warning signs of potential organizing, notify your building HRM and GM site leader immediately.
Immediately. Like, what are some times where you would go to, like, some higher authority in your company in an immediate capacity? There was a catastrophic failure, somebody needs to go to the hospital, like fucking a guy on company site with a gun, there's a bomb. Like, the threat of a union is an immediate call to action for a company. Now, obviously, it's immediate call to action for Amazon or Walmart or any of these companies because a union would stand to cut into profits, you know. And honestly, a union would not cut into profits that fucking badly. But that's just how fucking greedy these people are. I mean, they just don't fucking want to pay people the wage that they deserve in the country that they do business in. What it comes down to is that in capitalism, every company has to compete against each other to make the most amount of money by fucking over the people that they hire. So that when you're in some country, i.e. America, there's a certain standard of living, a certain quality of education, a certain quality of worker that you're going to get for free if you pay, like, no fucking taxes. And that's kind of where the bullshit is that if you do business in America, you hire American workers, and that you don't pay any taxes to contribute to the education, the constant supply of those workers that you rely on, well, then you're just you're just fucking bullshit. You're just getting it for free. Like, fuck off. Like, you should have to pay for fucking education. You should have to pay for people's fucking healthcare. You should have to pay to set the baseline of quality of life for the people in the country that you do business. That's just basic fucking sense. Like, why do you get to just, oh, hey, I get to hire fucking all these visa people from other countries because we just can't find qualified workers in America. So we gotta fucking exploit somebody else's labor, but we gotta bring them here, and we gotta make it legal, and it's like, fuck off.
HRMs and GM site leaders should notify their assigned ER managers or ER principals.
Oh, so you respond to somebody else, and then they go to somebody else.
Use of words associated with unions.
Oh, here we go.
Union-led movements
The banned words. It's the banned word list in Amazon. Let's go.
Living wage or steward. Petitions or other concerted activity.
Living wage is a banned word? They don't want you to have a living wage. What the fuck am I? I'm in fuck. They don't want you to have a living wage. I mean, it doesn't get any clearer than that, right? Is that living wage is a banned word. Now, they're never good. Like, I mean, Jeff Bezos doesn't get to, like, get brought down to a lower level. But, like, God forbid anybody else get brought up, right? You know, I mean, that's how capitalism works. Is that it's built on the backs of everyone below you, right? Like, grievance. I don't think you can ban the word grievance. I don't think that should be, like, a scary word, because like grievances are ways that you get in legal troubles for like fucking over your workers. I mean, let's remember the greatest theft that happens every year that goes completely unaccounted for and undealt with is wage theft. Contract work is bullshit. Representation, yeah, that's bullshit too. Yeah, representation, yeah, you know, the thing that, or resentation, I would assume it's representation, it's just cut off by this guy's hands, but he looks like a fucking South Park character, except with soulless dead eyes. Jesus, it's horrifying. But, like, yeah, representation, that's fucking horrible. Let's not have any of that.
Such as an associate purporting to speak on behalf of his or her coworkers when raising concerns. Union graffiti, union t-shirts, hats, jackets, or other clothing, union flyers, and union visitors in or near the parking lot. Some signs are less obvious than finding the actual union flyer, but they can still indicate associate disengagement, which is itself a warning sign for potential organizing. Examples include associates who normally aren't connected to each other suddenly hanging out together.
So if I become friends with somebody at work, and I haven't been friends with them before, but I've been working at the place for a while, that's suspicious. I mean, isn't this kind of like just some... I mean, really is like fucking some from on high bullshit. Like, I mean, Jeff Bezos fucks like how many of his assistants, you know, how many new fucking relationships does he engage in and get fucking called out on and blackmailed about. But then like one worker wants to fucking like talk to somebody else, maybe about their shitty job, and like suddenly it's got to be a huge investigation. Kindly fuck off.
Associates who were close suddenly stop.
Who work close? Oh, he's gonna say work close, but then suddenly stop talking to each other. Yeah, because God forbid, like, somebody at work, like, is a dumbass and you don't want to keep talking to him anymore. Change in volume, confrontational behavior, increased anger. Okay, these aren't signs of forming a union. These are signs of some person that's like a fucking meathead, which is probably all that you can fucking afford to hire because you don't want to pay anybody a living wage. Conversations with managers dry up. Yeah, the reason conversations with managers dry up is because you're in an antagonistic relationship with them. You can't fucking be friends with your manager.
To each other. Groups of associates.
Unusual group behavior. Unusual interest in politics and benefits. Yeah. When I'm a worker and I'm working full time and I'm dealing with my health care, my fucking, 401k, and, I'm interested in how that shit's fucking, doled out, maybe I can get some more. Yeah. But, nobody's interested in Jeff Bezos bullshit. We're not going to, like, ask him to, like, make less money. Fuck that shit.
Associates scatter when approached by management. Increased associate negativity, anger, or confrontation. Unusual complaints or change in passion or detail around complaints.
Change
Unusual
in passion.
In policies, benefits, employee lists, or other company information. Or any other associate behavior that is out of character. For example,
Jesus.
An associate who normally
this is some
promptly
Orwellian
begins
shit.
hanging out in the break room for an hour after work each day. In order to recognize warning signs, it is critical that you know what an associate's normal behavior looks like. Often, it is the change in behavior that is the warning sign, more than the actual behavior itself.
Jesus, what the fuck? The whole worker? Man. Oh, anyway, I guess explaining why capitalism is bullshit is the... Let me see if I can open up MS Paint here. Okay, 1 second. I'm gonna block this out. This is the boring part. Nobody's gonna watch this. How do I turn this shit off? Yeah, okay. Oh, this is gonna be loud. I apologize. Okay, we got MS Paint up here, I think. Okay, so let me figure out how to draw something quick. How do I drag and drop? How do I make a box? Okay, so here we go. We have this box, and here's like... Oh, fuck. How do I draw across? I can just make some more boxes. I don't know why it's green, but whatever. Wait, what am I doing? I want a brush. How do I... Am I just doing this still? No, I'm moving this. No, I want to draw some more. Okay, so let's say that... This is like all the profit that a company makes, and then you have like, labor cost is, oh, what the fuck, I should make this different. So you got like labor cost is like this much here. Let's fill this in. So this is how much your labor costs you, and then you got like some other bullshit costs. I don't know, just like buying the shit and other crap like that. Here you bought some shit and it takes up like this much. I kind of forget how much it is, but it's around there. And then you get up to like really what the important thing is like the excess, the surplus value of like, the end profit is that the part that is just raw profit. What do you do with that? So pretty much like, what do we do with all this? So we've already allocated this much to the workers and this much to like buying shit or whatever like that. And we got all this excess value, what are we going to do with it? Well, in capitalism, there's, how do I draw properly? We got one CEO and we got like a board. Okay, so we got one CEO and a board of people that vote on who the CEO is and, firing them and shit like that. Sometimes you have some other people and they're like a CFO, this is bullshit. But basically, the one CEO and the board dictate what happens with all this fucking surplus cash. Does that sound a little strange? Now you would think, okay, the guy has a big responsible job. Of course, he deserves to get paid a lot more. And yeah, the person in the top position does deserve to get paid more. But the problem is that what happens is that the CEO will, be like, hey, we're gonna have fucking dividends or some shit, right? So then what happens with this money is that it goes to they pay out to the shareholders of the company from the surplus value here. So people who have invested, so you have like, a bunch of shareholders. So you have a bunch of shareholders, here they are down here, and then you'll pay dividends to people depending on how many shares they have. So the excess value that the shareholders didn't do anything to earn other than buying the stock have been paid out from the workers' effort. Now, you have to remember that all this is created on the back of the laborers. So, people who buy supplies, people who do a lot of the organizing effort, some of the people who do work in the office jobs do actual meaningful labor work, but then most of it is just built on the back of the people that are running packages around and shit like that. And then you have a few kind of directionary people. You don't really need to pay the people who are kind of, it's like, if you think of it like a ship, these are basically the guys that are shoving coal into the engine. They're doing the most brutal work, but they don't see the benefit of it, because the boat never finds good land to dock on. The boat just keeps fucking sailing along, scooping up more and more fucking fish. But eventually, they kind of hope that maybe it would. So anyway, you have all the surplus value, and sometimes CEOs and the board will decide that they're going to pay out dividends. A few companies do this. I forget which ones, but, just fucking look them up. So then they take from the surplus value and they pay out to the dividends to the shareholders. That's one way to keep people interested in buying your stock. It's just one kind of method or whatever. The reason that you care about shareholders is that they buy value of your company and then they increase the value of your stock. So then, people will want to buy and they'll want to hold on to it. And then as the value of your stock goes up, the more demand for the stock goes up, but the supply doesn't go up, then more people are interested in buying it, other people sell it. And it creates more value or kind of like... I don't know how to say the guy's name. Keynesian economics is like, basically half magic. But that's basically how it works, is that you're just like literally working in magic numbers and it just increases the magic number enough that people want to buy more of it. Like, is a stock really worth how much you pay for it? Well, not until you sell it. That's the reality. Is the stock isn't worth anything until you sell it. You need to remember that. So that's one way that, capitalism is kind of bullshit. And then another way is that the worst way is that the board will vote to give the CEO a big raise from the surplus. What has the CEO done to earn this other than maybe the CEO has had some idea that allowed them to exploit more money out of people? Kind of, if you remember like the Wells Fargo thing where the CEO and all of them were like, yeah, we're going to have our customers are going to need to have like fucking 8 lines of credit open at all times. And it was a huge fucking legal mess and they actually got fined over it. But the fine that they got was less than how much they made in that exploitation. And then they create a huge, more and more debt for people because they're, opening more lines of credit that they don't fucking need, but they're going to end up using because if you give people money, of course they're going to fucking spend it. That's capitalism. So it's some total bullshit. But this is why capitalism bullshit is that, like, there's all this money that's being created by the people down here. Well, the people who create the value, not the people who, decide what to do with it. But a very few people get to decide what to do with the excess value. What really should be is that if you want to fix capitalism, you just inject some socialism into it. Instead, okay, so you have the voting power of the shareholders, you got the CEO, you got the board, and then you just add in, oh, look, doink, 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 workers. All the workers now get voting rights in what happens with the excess value. So let's say the CEO wants to fucking pay out dividends to the shareholders, but the company doesn't engage in like profit sharing or any kind of like stock options within the company. Well, the workers are going to be like, well, that's some bullshit, and they're going to vote that shit down. Or, the board's like, yeah, we want to give the CEO a big bonus. And maybe the CEO is actually a nice guy. Maybe he has a modest, he gets paid modestly. He doesn't get paid exorbitantly. And the workers would be like, yeah, the CEO goes around the companies. I met him one time. He's a good guy. And they could vote for that, But the bottom line is that these are the people producing the fucking value, and they have no fucking voting rights. It blows my mind. In a country where voting is like so fucking important to so many fucking Americans. I mean, not a lot of them do it, but there's different reasons why not a lot of Americans vote. But it's so important. We had a war over this shit. But when it comes to your workplace, the place that you spend so much of your life, we are fucking so reticent to just allow people to fucking vote what happens with the excess value of their labor. That's what's fucked about capitalism.